Hello everyone, and welcome to Mr. B's short English lesson. Today we talk about reported speech. And we want to know when we use reported speech, how we use reported speech, and how we do that in statements and in questions. We use reported speech when we report what someone said, thought, asked, or wrote. And that means you have to watch out for verbs like said, told, thought, asked, wanted to know, and wrote, because these verbs indicate that your sentence is a reported speech sentence. Let's look at statements first, and we start with an example. Tim says, I play chess. And now when you want to report what Tim said, you start with, he said, and then you can use that, but you don't have to. You can do it with or without the that. Now we have to look at the sentence Tim used before I play chess, because you have here the I, which is a personal pronoun, and then you have play, the verb, and you have to change both in the reported speech sentence. The I, the personal pronoun, is he, because now it's not Tim speaking, it's someone else, and he talks about Tim, or she talks about Tim, and that's why the I has to change to he. And you have to backshift the verb, so the verb here is in simple present, and when you backshift you go 1 tense backwards, you use simple past, and that is played here, meaning you have to change the personal pronouns and backshift the tenses. What does it mean to backshift the tenses? In the following sequence, I'll show you how to backshift the tenses, from what tense you go to which tense, and there is always an example. Let's have a look. When you have a sentence in present progressive like I'm painting a picture, you see I am painting is present progressive. When you make a reported speech sentence, you get she said she was painting a picture, and was painting is in the past progressive, so you stepped back 1 tense. That's called backshift. Simple present gets simple past. Rudy works as a mechanic. He said Rudy, or he worked as a mechanic, so simple present, simple past. Simple past is past perfect in reported speech, so the traveled is had traveled, and present perfect changes to past perfect to I have met, becomes had met in reported speech. There are a few more examples where you have to backshift. When you have can, it's could. In reported speech, Iris can assist me. He said Iris could assist her. Will and would. I will be famous is he said he would be famous in reported speech. And the going to future changes to, because here we have am, are, is, and that is was or were in reported speech. You also have to change the pronouns. When you have a look at this example sentence, when Tony says to Rudy, and he says, I will write you a message when we get home. Now, when Rudy reports Tony's sentence and he talks to Andrea, Rudy says, Tony said he is Tony, would write me is Rudy, a message when they is Tony and someone else, got home. The perspective is different when it's not Rudy talking. When Tony is talking, Tony is the one who originally said the sentence, the pronouns change differently. When Tony is talking to Andrea, for example, he says, I said I would write him a message. I is Tony, him is Rudy. When we get home, we is Tony and his friends together, so you have to use we here. When Andrea is talking, who was not there at all, maybe to Tina, she says, Tony said he would write Rudy or him a message when they, Tony and his friends, got home. So it's very important that you know what's the correct perspective. You also change the time specification. I'm going to write you a message tomorrow. Again, you have to keep the perspective in mind, because when you say that on the same day, when you report on the same day, she's going to write the message tomorrow still, so you don't change the time specification. So reported speech here is, she said she was going to write him a message tomorrow. But when you report the next day, so you are already tomorrow, it has to change, because then she said she was going to write him a message today. If you don't change tomorrow here, the information is wrong. And if you report it some time later, or you don't know when tomorrow would be, then you have to do it like this. She said she was going to write him a message the next day. So again, you have to watch out for the correct perspective here. These are the most common changes of time specification, so let's have a look at it. When you have now, you use reported speech, then you have to say then or at that time. When the time specification is today, it's that day. It's yesterday when you're talking on the next day, or maybe you can use on Monday, on Tuesday, or something like that. This week is that week. Tomorrow, as we had before in the example, depends on the perspective. Next month would be the following month, a month later, or maybe in May, in June. Yesterday is the day before, or you say the specific day again, and last week is the week before in reported speech. Now we have to look at questions. When you do a question in reported speech, you still have to change the pronouns, you have to backshift the tenses, and you have to change the time specification. And you do questions with asked or wanted to know. First, we look at questions with question words. When you have a question with question words, you have to use the question word again. So you start with the person, the pronoun, then you have wanted to know or ask, and then you have the question word again, like in this case, how long, and then you do the rest of the reported speech things you have to do, backshift the tense, change the time, and then you get a question in reported speech. When you don't have a question word, you do it slightly different. You start the same way. You have the personal pronoun wanted to know or ask, and then you have whether she liked apples. And here you do the same again, backshift, change of pronouns. Instead of wanted to know, you can still use ask. Instead of whether, you can also use if. So here you do it with whether or if. I hope I could tell you and help you a little bit with reported speech. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.